I'm Elliot Kleinberg from the Palm Beach Post. We're at a news conference at the Delray Beach Police Department discussing the arrest in a 20-year-old murder case.
And thank you all for attending this conference regarding the arrest in the 1998 homicide of Sondra Better. Sondra Better was a 68-year-old woman that worked alone in a consignment shop along Federal Highway. She was violently killed. She was stabbed. She was bludgeoned. And no one deserves to die in that manner. Our detective worked years trying to find the killer in this case. We had the physical evidence, we had fingerprints, we had blood. They even had a possible description from a witness. But the person responsible for this heinous case seemed to just disappear. Until December 2018, when a man from Brandon, Florida applied for a job, submitted a fingerprint for a background check. It was a match to our killer. With the help of the Florida Department of Law Enforcement and the Hillsborough County Sheriff Department, we were able to bring 51-year-old Mr. Barket to justice in this case. The fingerprints and blood found on the crime scene matched those of Mr. Barket, who was 29 and lived in Lantana during the time of the killing. It took us 20 years. 20 years is a long time to want and ask for justice for a loved one. But after 20 years, we was able to bring that justice to not only Sondra Better, but also to Sondra Better's family.
I just want to say how proud I am of the current and former employees that have worked this case tirelessly for 20 years. You can only imagine how hard it's been for them to be unable to solve this case. We were lucky enough that we were able to recover a lot of blood DNA on the scene. The crime scene techs that worked that scene checked everything, and they found a set of prints on a decorative ball. They uploaded it into APHIS, which is a fingerprint database system, and for 20 years it sat there and sat there. And as Chief Sims said, in December, Mr. Barket applied for a job that required a background check, and he had to submit his fingerprints, and we were able to make a match, a reverse hit on those prints.
I was the lead detective on this case. I worked it for 10 years. When I retired, every time I came back to the police department, I would check with the current detectives that were working the case. It brings a lot of joy to you when you can solve a case like this. I've been in contact with the family. They're very happy with the solving of the case. Zeke Better, who was the victim's husband, after the homicide, came to Delray PD. He worked here for almost 15 years as a volunteer. And there's a lot of fingerprints on this case from all the people that are in this room, and the most important fingerprints were inside the file, and today they were identified, and we're able to bring that guy to justice. Well, anybody that works homicides, and the guys in this room are some of the best in the business, will attest that once you get a case where there's a true innocent victim, it's hard to let it go. I worked this case up to the last week that I was on the job, and then every time that I came back to the police department, I would check with the guys to see if there was any updates on this case. The victim was getting ready to retire. Friday was her last day. She didn't need to work. She was doing this job just to occupy her day. Her and Zeke were on their way up to New York on that Friday to redo their wedding vows, and she was killed on, I think, a Tuesday or Wednesday.